Hey guys, welcome back for another video. A very cool video, an important video here today talking about the ground forces you apply to influence your swing, to influence how your body moves. So the forces that your feet apply into the ground are the horizontal force, the vertical force, and the torque force. And we're going to go over these three forces and how they influence your movement, how they influence your swing, and how they can influence the numbers in the club delivery. So very general video here. We're going to go more in depth on YouTube or in the online academy. Just a very general video here to kind of introduce you guys to those three forces on my YouTube channel. So we got the horizontal force, the vertical force, and the torque force. The horizontal force, you guys can think of it as a very lateral movement with not much rotation in it. So very lateral movement. If I were to just kind of jump or push off my trail side to my lead side in a very horizontal way. So let's say from this face-on view, actually I'm going to do it with more space here. If I just push off sideways with my trail leg to my lead leg, this is a very horizontal force. I'm pushing horizontally to propel myself laterally without going this way or back, okay? That's the horizontal force. The vertical force, we can look at it as just me jumping straight up in the air. When we jump straight up in the air, very similarly to us doing a squat, we're pushing vertically off the ground. So if I were to jump straight up in the air, that is the vertical force, okay? That is what we're going to measure. That is the very big influencer of how much vertical force you apply into the ground. And then the torque force is how you screw into the ground to create rotation. So a very easy way to think about this is if I were to jump 360 degrees to my left or right. So I'm facing this wall right now. If I jump 360 to face this wall, you can see I have to screw into the ground to propel myself that way. Either way is fine. If I were to try to jump 360 the other way, that is also us torquing the ground to create the rotation. But me as a right-handed golfer, the torque force that's more active for us as righties is to 360 jump to our left, and then for you lefties out there, it's 360 jump to your right. So that's what creates the torque, okay? So in the golf swing, I generally don't like seeing much horizontal. You don't have to feel for horizontal. Horizontal will be there because the target is on the horizontal side. It's on our left. There is going to be horizontal forces. But if I were to, let's say, try to focus on just the horizontal on the swing, it's literally me going to load into my right and then me pushing sideways. So let's try here. I'm going to try to go max horizontal here with not much vertical, not much torque. That's just me pushing sideways, okay? That's us pushing sideways, and you're going to see a lot of lateral movement in the golf swing. When we look at the forces applied, you're going to see a very high horizontal as I push off from the top of the backswing. Let me just bookmark these for you guys. Let me just bookmark the top of the backswing first. Top of the backswing somewhere here, and then impact is somewhere approaching impact, let's just say there. A little bit, frames aren't there. So you can see when you look at these three charts, my max horizontal is much higher than my max torque and my max vertical because all I did was push laterally to start my downswing. That is a horizontal. You can see a lot of lateral movement where my lead hip is set up at the top of the backswing, and you can see my lead hip starts covering all this white space into impact. That's the horizontal, and generally, if you have a lot of horizontal forces, it makes you not rotate much in the downswing. We want to rotate in the downswing, golf being rotational. We don't want the horizontal to be the biggest factor for in a general statement for most golfers. You can benefit much more with torque because torque is what creates the rotation or what influences a lot of the rotation. But we're going to talk about that later in this video. Now we're going to go over the vertical. The vertical, as we talked about, is the squatting. If I squat the most in this downswing in transition so I can push up off the squat, you should see a lot more vertical forces being the major factor here. So let's try. I don't care what about anything else. I'm just going to do my best to straight squat and straight squat up, and we'll see what happens here. I tried to straight squat down, straight squat up. I chunked the hell of it. Doesn't matter. Let's see what that gives us on the swing catalyst. And if we look at that one, you're going to see way more vertical forces. You can see I'm pushing 273% of my body weight here at its peak. So when we look here, and you can see there's still some horizontal, but the vertical is the biggest factor in the swing right now. It's me focusing on the straight squat down. That is the top of the backswing. And as I started, you can see I squat downwards and I start pushing up off the ground, which is then why I peak the vertical as I push back up to create speed. The squatting, the straight squat, is what creates the vertical force. And then the torque force, if I really want to focus on that, it's going to be me jumping 360 degrees to my left as a right-handed golfer. It's the screwing into the ground and off the ground that creates the torque, that creates the rotation. So the more I torque the ground, a la the cardboard drill what we've talked about, the more rotation you're going to probably see in the swing. So let's try. Let's see if I can control the torque here by feeling like I'm jumping 360 degrees to my left, and whatever happens, happens here. I've exaggerated that quite a bit. Let's see if I'm able to make the torque go higher on this one. Let's let the swing catalyst load up. And you can see now my torque force is now the highest it's been. We focus on the torque to get the rotation, and you can see on the down the line view, you're probably going to see a lot more rotation from that swing, even though it's a bad swing. But that's how you control the forces in the golf swing. You try a 360 jump, the torque goes up. You try squatting, the vertical goes up. You try just a lateral jump to the side, the horizontal goes up. You can see here, torque is very low, vertical is very low. Horizontal is the highest. We go back to the vertical. Now the vertical is the highest, horizontal is lower, torque is lower. We go to the 360 jump. Now the torque is much higher than it's ever been. They're still vertical because when you jump, there is a vertical force. I prefer a lot of my clients to have vertical and torque in their swing. So when you're trying to combine the 360 jump to your left to increase torque, that's why I talk a lot about squat and rotate into your trail side. So from the face-on view, you don't push sideways. We don't want to push sideways. We want you to rotate. So we want to squat and rotate to load the vertical. Then we push up and rotate to unload the vertical. Combine that with the torque to push up and around. That's what will allow us to stay centered, create a lot of speed through the squat and rotate. And then the torque force, which is also through the jump and rotate, will help you rotate through the ball in your downswing. So that's a very basic overview of the three forces in the golf swing. I hope that makes sense. We're going to go more in depth into it in future videos on the channel in the online academy. This is a very basic overlay or a basic general template on how to control those three forces. Not the only way, but very general ways to do it. So hope that makes sense. Any questions, leave it in the comments below, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.